I have to ask my husband for permission to use the bathroom. Everything seemed normal during our 3 years together, but then 4 months after we got married, my husband started asking where I was going every time I left the house. At first I thought he was being protective, but then he started saying no to things like running to the pharmacy or meeting coworkers. I don't know when it happened, but suddenly I was asking instead of telling, saying, "Can I go to the store?" instead of "I'm going to the store." One night I was on the phone with my mom and he walked in and gestured like wrap it up. When I hung up he said, "Thank you for being considerate of my time," like I'd done something thoughtful. The bathroom thing started 2 months ago when I got up to pee at night. When I came back he asked where I'd been and I said the bathroom. He said, "You should tell me before you get up so I don't worry." I laughed because I thought he was joking, but he wasn't. The next morning he said it would make him feel better if I let him know before I went anywhere, even in the house. I said okay, thinking he'd forget, but he didn't. One Tuesday I needed something and walked into the living room where he was watching TV. I said, "I'm going to run to the corner store," and he didn't look away when he said, "I don't feel like being alone." The store is 3 blocks away, but I stayed home and made the sandwich without mustard. 2 days later I wanted to sit on the back porch and found him in his office. I said, "I'm going outside for a bit," and he said why. Like I'd announced I was moving. I told him I wanted fresh air and he asked how long. I said 20 minutes and he said, "Make it 15, I need help with something." I sat outside for 15 minutes and came back, and he didn't need help. The next day I had to pee and went to his office where he was watching videos on his phone. I said, "I need to use the bathroom," and he held up one finger. "Hold on, this video is almost over." I stood there while he watched some guy review a lawnmower for 4 minutes before he said, "Okay, go ahead," like he'd granted me parole. The next morning I woke up before him and had to pee so badly my back teeth were floating. I looked over at him asleep and thought about just going, but then I pictured him waking up and my stomach twisted. I lay there for 30 minutes until he woke up, and the second his eyes opened I said, "I need to use the bathroom." He yawned. "Good morning to you too." Then one afternoon I needed to pee and got up to find him. He wasn't in his office, so I checked the bedroom and kitchen and garage. His car was gone. I called twice and it went to voicemail, then texted and got no response. I stood in the hallway and my bladder felt like it was going to burst. I called again, got nothing, waited 5 minutes and tried again. Still nothing. I was panicking. I texted again and stared at my phone. No response. I tried calling one more time, got voicemail, so I couldn't wait and went to the bathroom. When I came out, I heard the front door and he walked in with a hardware store bag. He stopped dead and his face changed. "Where were you just now?" he asked. And I said, "The bathroom. I tried calling you 5 times. He said, "Did you ask permission?" And my throat got tight. I said, "You weren't here and you didn't answer." His jaw clenched and he put the bag down hard. Something rattled. "So you just went without permission?" he said. And I said, "I had to pee and you disappeared." He shouted, "I was gone 15 minutes. You're supposed to wait." And I yelled, "I called you 5 times." He screamed, "You should have waited." And his face was red. "You deliberately disobeyed me. You know the rules." I backed up while he followed. "This is about respect. You disrespected me." I yelled, "I had to pee." And he screamed, "I don't care. You wait. You always wait." He was breathing hard and staring at me like I'd set the house on fire. I felt something crack inside and said, "This is insane." He stopped and his eyes went cold. "What did you say?" I said, "This is insane. I'm a grown woman and I don't need permission to pee in my own house." He said, "Yes, you do. You ask me first about everything so I know you're safe." I said, "That's not marriage. That's prison." He said, "That's what I need. If you can't respect that, then maybe you don't respect me." I said, "Maybe I don't." And the words just came out. His face went blank, and for 3 seconds he stared, then spoke in this quiet voice. "Fine. From now on, I'm working from home every single day so you won't have any excuse not to ask." I walked into the bedroom and started packing while he stood in the doorway. "What are you doing?" he asked, and I said, "Leaving." He said, "You can't leave without asking me," and sounded genuinely confused. I said, "Watch me," and zipped my bag.